I had been with my girlfriend for 5 years when she introduced me as nothing more than her roommate at a work function. Later, when I asked her why, she brushed it off and told me I should be grateful she kept me in her life at all. I smiled, agreed, and even apologized. The very next day, while she was away at the office, I packed my things, moved out, and left a note behind, "Best of luck covering the rent, roommate." Since then, she hasn't stopped calling. Before diving in, I just want to thank you for tuning in. It truly means a lot. But check this out, only a small percentage of viewers here are subscribed. If you enjoy stories like this and want to keep them coming, subscribing makes a world of difference. Ever had your entire life turned upside down in just one evening? I have. One moment I was helping my long-term girlfriend get ready for her company's annual gala, and the next I was hearing a single word that shattered everything. Roommate. For context, my name's Noah, 38, and I'm a marketing director at a mid-sized business. My girlfriend, well, now ex, Vanessa, 36, works as a pharmaceutical sales exec. We met at a charity golf event, moved in together within a year, and built what I believed was a strong relationship. We never made it official on paper, but we had talked about marriage. We even had future kids' names picked out. The whole vision. Things started changing about 6 months ago after Vanessa got a big promotion. She became regional sales director. The title was impressive, the paycheck was bigger, and she started flying out twice a month for meetings and conferences. I fully backed her, took on more chores at home, shifted my work schedule to match hers, even helped fine-tune her presentations when deadlines were tight. Looking back, that's when the distance started creeping in. At first it was subtle. She'd talk about her coworkers but never invite me to meet them. Our couple photos vanished from her social media. Her wardrobe changed, sleek new outfits, bolder makeup. When I complimented her, she'd say, "It's how people at my level present themselves." The unspoken suggestion being that I wouldn't get it, even though I'm an executive too. Then last month, her company announced its annual gala. Black tie, with an invite for spouses and partners. Initially, Vanessa told me it was employees only. I only learned otherwise when I overheard her talking on the phone about what some of her colleagues' husbands would wear. When I confronted her, she claimed she was sparing me from a dull night. Eventually, she said I could come. I even splurged on a tailored Armani suit, $3,000, to make sure I'd look the part. On the night of the gala, she was breathtaking in a black designer gown I'd never seen before. The venue was a luxury hotel downtown, open bar, gourmet food. I mingled, enjoying the conversations, while she moved gracefully from group to group. Then it happened. Her division's VP walked up, hand outstretched toward me. "So you must be the roommate Vanessa mentioned." I waited for her to correct him. To say, "We've been together for 5 years." Or, "This is my partner, Noah." But she just smiled. "Yes, Noah and I share a place downtown. Super convenient for work," she added. The VP chatted politely for a minute before moving on. I just stood there, glass of champagne in hand, stunned. "Roommate?" I muttered when we were alone. She leaned in and whispered, "Not here." She explained that Graham, her VP, preferred to keep personal and professional lives separate, and thought dating within the company was inappropriate. "But we don't even work together," I said. "And since when is being in a committed relationship unprofessional?" She brushed it off. Then another exec walked over and she snapped right back into her charming smile. For the rest of the night, she introduced me either as my roommate, or simply Noah, to at least a dozen people. Each time, it chipped away at my patience. When we got home, I was determined to talk it out calmly. "What was that about?" I asked as she slipped off her heels. 5 years together and suddenly I'm just your roommate?" She sighed heavily, like I was missing something obvious. "It's not personal, it's strategic." "Strategic? You brought me to a partner event." She shrugged. "Only because you wouldn't drop it." She poured herself wine and didn't offer me any. Honestly, you're lucky I keep you around. I blinked. Sorry, what? Let's be honest, Noah. I'm aiming for senior leadership within 2 years. My career is skyrocketing. She waved a hand toward me. And you're comfortable. I'm a director too, I reminded her. I earn 6 figures. I've supported you at every step. She just rolled her eyes. Your office has, what, 50 people? Mine's got 20,000. You're a big fish in a puddle, she said, taking a slow sip of wine. Face it, you're lucky I've kept you this long. Most women in my position would have traded up ages ago. Her words landed like a punch to the chest. Half a decade together, and now I was being spoken of like some charity case she'd chosen not to discard. In that moment I saw 2 possible paths: argue with her, try to convince her of my worth, or simply agree. I picked the second. You're right, I said quietly. I haven't been celebrating your success the way I should. I'm sorry. My sudden surrender seemed to take her by surprise. Her expression shifted, contempt melting into confusion, then settling into satisfaction. Well, I'm glad you finally get it. I do now, I told her. It won't be a problem from here on. She seemed content with that answer. We went to bed without another word, though the space between us felt wider than ever. The next morning, she slipped out early for a breakfast meeting, still wearing the diamond studs I'd bought her for our 4th anniversary. The moment her car disappeared down the street, I set my sleepless night plan in motion. Step 1: Proof. I photographed everything in our apartment, starting with the things I had bought. Our lease, both names on it but my signature next to the security deposit. Bank records showing I paid the majority share of our rent and utilities. Screenshots of the monthly transfers from my account to our joint one, covering roughly 70% of our household costs, courtesy of my puddle company that paid me quite handsomely. Then came the calls. Bank. Lawyer. Boss. By midday, the wheels were turning. After that, I packed, carefully, deliberately. Only what was beyond dispute. Clothes, personal mementos, family heirlooms. I left anything we'd bought together. Anything she could claim as a gift from me. I'd actually arranged the movers the night before while she slept, keeping my explanation bare bones. Need to move out while my ex is at work tomorrow. That was all they needed to hear. They'd handled situations like mine before. The rush fee was steep, but worth every cent. They arrived at 1 on the dot. By 3, the place looked hollow. My home office? Gone. The sofa set I'd brought from my bachelor apartment? Gone. The high-end sound system? Gone. The original paintings I'd collected over the years? Gone. Even the fridge and washer-dryer I'd purchased when we first moved in? Gone. What remained was an apartment with obvious voids, like a grin missing teeth. I left the bed behind. She could have that reminder. The dining table she'd picked out. Her wardrobe untouched. The decor she'd chosen. On the kitchen counter, I placed a single note: good luck covering the rent, roommate. My shares paid through the end of the month. But that wasn't the end of it. I didn't just walk away. I walked out with a strategy. Remember those calls to the bank, lawyer, and boss? Here's why. Call 1: untangling finances. Not just closing joint accounts, but running a full audit of our shared expenses, trips, and gifts. Call 2: dealing with the legal knots. We weren't married, but we owned things together. Investments. A stake in a vacation cabin upstate. All of it needed clean separation. Call 3: activating a career backup plan. Half a year earlier, I turned down a lucrative offer at a major Chicago firm, nearly triple my salary, because Vanessa's job kept us here. Now, I called to see if the spot was still open. It was. What I didn't yet realize was that the roommate stunt at the gala was just the tip of the iceberg. That afternoon, as I checked into a hotel, my phone rang. Unknown number. On the other end? Graham, her VP. Noah, this is awkward, but are you and Vanessa still together? Perplexed, I asked how he'd gotten my number. You gave me your card at the gala, he reminded me. Said to reach out if we ever needed marketing help. Honestly, I kept it because something about your situation didn't sit right. I told him we had just split. He paused. I figured as much. Listen, there's something you should know. The reason I introduced you as her roommate was because that's what she's been calling you for months. But she's also been involved with someone else, Charles from legal. She hasn't exactly been discreet. PDA at the last retreat, sharing hotel rooms on trips. Around the office, everyone assumed you two had some sort of arrangement. The ground seemed to vanish under my feet. How public? I asked. He told me. I thanked him for his honesty and ended the call, my hands trembling. Not only was I the roommate, I was also the perfect cover for her affair. That changed the game. My calm, calculated exit suddenly felt far too soft for the level of betrayal. So I moved into phase 2. The one I'd call going nuclear. Within 2 days, I'd pulled my share from the vacation cabin investment we co-owned, forcing a sale at a terrible point in the market. Informed our landlord I wouldn't be renewing the lease, which expired in 60 days. I'd cover my portion until then, but made it clear I wouldn't be part of any future agreements. I reached out to HR at my former company to turn down their counteroffer, explaining that I was relocating for personal reasons. Casually mentioned that my partner's relationship with a colleague had made my position uncomfortable. I didn't drop names, but I left a trail. Then I made a single, carefully worded post on social media announcing my exciting new role in Chicago, tagging mutual friends who I knew would ensure Vanessa saw it. Called my cousin, who works for the same pharmaceutical company in another department. Told him the story, confident the workplace rumor mill would do the rest. That evening, the phone calls started. First from Vanessa. A flood of increasingly desperate messages. Where's your stuff? You're not really leaving over one remark, are you? You can't just walk away like this. Rent's due next week. Why is Simone from accounting asking me about Charles? I ignored everyone. Then came the text that told me I'd landed my blow. They're investigating me and Charles for a non-disclosed relationship. What did you do? Still, I said nothing. By the third day, her tone shifted. Noah, please, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. You were never just a roommate. Please call me back. I didn't. By the end of the week, I'd signed the offer for my new job in Chicago, paid a deposit on a lakefront apartment, and started prepping for the drive. Then word reached me through friends. Vanessa had been placed on leave during the investigation. Charles had claimed she'd pursued him, even sharing their texts to protect himself. Her polished career image was crumbling fast. The cabin sold at a steep loss, with her share hit hardest due to penalties from my early withdrawal. Our landlord had listed the apartment for new tenants, leaving her scrambling for housing. With the joint accounts closed, her credit took a hit. 2 weeks after the gala, as I was loading my car for the move, she appeared at the hotel. Gone was the poised, confident executive. This version had red eyes, messy hair. I wasn't shocked. I'd booked the hotel using our shared credit card before switching to my own, knowing she'd see the charge. I'd half expected this confrontation. Is all this because I called you my roommate? She asked, voice trembling. No, I answered, my first words to her since leaving. It's because when I objected, you told me I was lucky to still be around. I didn't mean it, she said quickly. I was stressed about work and busy showing off for the married guy you were sleeping with. She flinched. Graham told you? Everyone told me, Vanessa. Seems I was the only one in the dark. I made a mistake, she whispered. Several. But wrecking my career and finances? That's excessive. In that instant, I felt a shift, not pity, but recognition that maybe I'd crossed a line. Not because she didn't earn her consequences, but because I hadn't meant to become the sort of person who dismantles someone's life. My anger had curdled into something colder. You're right, I admitted. I didn't expect all of this to snowball. Then help me, she begged. Talk to HR. Tell them you made it up. I never spoke to your HR, I told her honestly. That was all internal. And no, I'm not going to lie to save you. She stared, tears streaking her cheeks. I loved you, she said. It wasn't all fake. I shut the trunk. Love comes with respect. Which apparently, even as your roommate, I didn't have. I got in the car and drove off, watching her fade in the rearview. Chicago was ahead. A new job. A new beginning. 6 months on, my career's thriving at the bigger firm. Turns out my skills translate beyond my so-called puddle. I've made friends. Dated here and there. Built a life I'm proud of. Vanessa still reaches out sometimes. The latest word is she's back at work, but demoted. Charles got reassigned. She's in a smaller place in a rougher part of town. The designer wardrobe's been sold off. And sometimes, I wonder if I went too far. If betrayal turned me into someone I didn't want to be. Vindictive. Strategic. Cold. Other times, I recall the look on her face as she dismissed 5 years together. The casual cruelty of telling me I should be thankful to still be in her life. The truth is probably somewhere in between. I didn't just walk away. I took apart the life she'd built using our relationship as its base. Was it fair? Maybe not. Was it deserved? I still don't know. But I do know this: I'll never again let anyone reduce me to just a roommate. And if that $3,000 suit taught me anything, it's that self-respect can be costly but worth every cent. Edit. This story's gotten a lot of attention. To address the common questions. 1. Yes, I regret some of how far it went. My original goal was a clean exit, not destroying her life. Some fallout was inevitable. Some came from her own actions coming to light. 2. No, I never filed a direct complaint to her HR. I spoke to mine and told my cousin. The rest happened through internal chatter. 3. For those saying I should have talked it out, when someone tells you you're lucky to be kept around, that's the end of the discussion. 4. As for dating, I'm taking my time. Trust takes a while to rebuild. Update. 3 months later, things keep getting better in Chicago. I was promoted after securing 2 major accounts. I've started seeing someone, a corporate lawyer who calls me her boyfriend without hesitation. Vanessa's apparently working on herself, even sent an apology email without excuses. I didn't reply. Some doors stay shut. The cabin finally sold after a long wait, and my lawyer split the proceeds fairly. It wasn't much, but it was clean. Looking back, we both caused damage. She with her betrayal. Me with my response. The difference is, I can own my part. That's growth. And if you're wondering if revenge feels good, it doesn't. Not for long. What does feel good is moving forward, building a life you're proud of, and realizing your worth never depended on someone else's validation in the first place.